Once upon a time in the village of Aquapem, there lived a woman named AMIRA. AMIRA was very commanding and authoritative, but beneath her veneer of power laid a heart hardened by bitterness and a soul consumed by desire to control. AMIRA's reign over Aquapem village was marked by fear and intimidation. She reveled in her power, exploiting the villagers for her own gain. She treated them with disdain and casting a shadow over once joyous village. One afternoon, as the village gathered for the weekly market, Kofi, a young boy from a poor family, arrived. His tattered clothes clinging into his thin frame. AMIRA, her eyes fixed at Kofi's worn-out attire, couldn't resist the urge to humiliate him. With a mocking sneer, she approached Kofi, her voice dripping with venom. "Look at you, little beggar," she taunted, her words echoing through the market square. "Your clothes look like they've been dragged through the mud. What are you doing here, trying to pass for a decent villager?" The villagers gasped, their faces etched with pity and shame for the young boy. Kofi, his eyes brimming with tears, lowered his head, his voice barely a whisper as he mumbled, "I just came to the market like everyone else." But AMIRA's cruel taunts didn't end there. She continued to belittle Kofi, her words cutting like shards of grass, leaving deep wounds in his heart. The villagers watched in silence, their voices silenced by fear, their hearts heavy with compassion for the helpless boy. They would not dare to help Kofi because AMIRA would be up to them next. On another day, as the market day drew to a close, Akosua, a young girl with a basket full of freshly picked mangoes, hurried towards her home. AMIRA, her eyes fixed on the tempting fruits, spotted the girl and a wicked smile crept across her face. She intercepted Akosua's path, her voice laced with greed. "Those mangoes look delicious," she declared. "Hand them over to me. I'll pay you a fair price." Akosua, her heart pounding with fear, hesitated. She knew that refusing AMIRA's demand would mean facing her wrath. But also giving out her hard-earned harvest was a bitter pill to swallow. With a trembling voice, she pleaded,
"Please, AMIRA, I worked hard to pick these mangoes. I need to sell them to help my sick mother and feed my family."
But AMIRA was unmoved. "I don't care about your family and your sick mother," she snapped. "These mangoes are mine now." And without another word, she snatched the basket from Akosua's grasp, leaving the girl distraught and empty-handed. The villagers watched in dismay, their anger rising at AMIRA's act of theft. AMIRA's bullying extended beyond the market and into the homes of the villagers. Ama, an elderly woman, had recently completed a traditional dress for AMIRA. When Ama presented the dress, her heart brimmed with pride and anticipation. She had never made a beautiful dress like the one she made for AMIRA. She had used a lot of time making the dress and making sure that it will be perfect for AMIRA's liking. But AMIRA, her eyes scanning the dress with disdain, declared it unworthy of her and refused to pay Ama a dime. She accused Ama of shoddy workmanship, of ruining the expensive fabric, and stormed off without a second glance. Ama, her heart shattered, and her spirit crushed, could only watch as AMIRA disappeared into the distance, leaving her with nothing but a broken spirit and unpaid debts. The villagers, their hearts heavy with sympathy for the wronged seamstress, vowed to seek justice for Amma. But they were in deep fear of AMIRA, so they did not know how they would do it. At night, when everyone was asleep, AMIRA would silently slip into the dwellings of the unsuspecting elders. Her eyes glinting with greed, he would scan the darkness, searching for signs of hidden wealth. With a menacing voice, she would demand money from the trembling old people, threatening them with violence if they dared to refuse. The villagers, their voices silenced by fear, would reluctantly hand over their meager savings, their hearts heavy with despair. Those who dared to resist AMIRA's demands would face a blunt of her cruelty. She would beat them with her bare hands, leaving them bruised and battered. After using the stolen money, now AMIRA was running bankrupt. She did not have any money and she had to look for chances to take from the elderly. One unlucky day, as AMIRA crept into the home of an elderly, she found that the elderly's grandson was around. Kwame, unable to bear witness of her cruelty any longer, decided to intervene. He had seen AMIRA's relentless torment to the elderly, her merciless demands for money, and her violent outbursts when met with resistance. He couldn't stand by and watch her terrorize the most vulnerable members of his community any longer. As AMIRA approached the elderly couple, Kwame emerged from the shadows, his heart pounding with determination. He stood in her path, his voice firm and unwavering.
AMIRA,
He declared,
you have tormented these innocent people for far too long. Your reign of terror ends tonight.
AMIRA, taken aback by Kwame's sudden appearance, stared at him with a mixture of surprise and anger.
How dare you interfere?
She spat on him as she raised her voice.
These people are mine to do with as I please.
But Kwame was not intimidated. He stood tall, his eyes burning with righteous indignation.
No more, AMIRA.
He insisted.
You have brought nothing but fear and suffering to our village. It is time for your reign and terror to end.
AMIRA's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a snarl.
You think you can stop me, boy?
She hissed, her voice dripping with contempt.
I am AMIRA and I rule this village with iron fist.
And with that, she laughed at Kwame, beating him mercilessly, her eyes filled with fury. Kwame, caught off guard, could only defend himself as best he could, but he was no match to AMIRA's raw strength. She rained blows upon him, her fist connecting with his face and body, leaving him bruised and battered. The elderly watched in horror, her cries for help echoing through the silent night. AMIRA, her anger consuming her, continued to beat Kwame until he lay motionless on the ground. Satisfied with her handwork, she turned to the elderly, her eyes igniting with malice.
Now,
She growled.
where is your money?
The elderly, trembling with fear, handed over her meager savings. AMIRA snatched the money, her lips curling into a cruel smile.
You should have paid me without making me wait.
She taunted, her voice laced with anger.
Maybe then your little friend wouldn't be in such a sorry state.
With that, she turned and fled into the darkness, leaving Kwame bleeding and the elderly in a state of shock. The village of Aquapem was once again shrouded in fear, AMIRA's reign of terror seeming unstoppable. AMIRA's insatiable greed led her down the treacherous path. Guided by her desire for wealth, she ventured into the forbidden territory of Mama Essie, a powerful witch revered and feared throughout the region. Mama Essie's secluded hut was located within the forest and was rumored to hold a trove of mystical treasures. AMIRA, braided by her avarice, crept into the witch's dwelling, determined to claim these fabled riches for herself. As she rummaged through Mama Essie's belongings, AMIRA stumbled upon a hidden chamber. Inside, she discovered a collection of ancient artifacts. Blinded by greed, she snatched the artifacts, oblivious to the dire consequences of her actions. Unbeknownst to AMIRA, Mama Essie had placed a powerful curse upon her stolen treasures. As soon as AMIRA touched them, the curse was activated, weaving its magic into her very being. As AMIRA triumphantly returned to her home, she felt a strange sensation creeping over her. Her mind began to cloud, her thoughts swirling in chaotic vortex. She clutched the stolen artifacts, unaware that they were the source of her growing uncomfort. The villagers watched with growing concern as AMIRA's health and sanity slipped away. They whispered of the stolen artifacts, of the ancient curse that had befallen the once feared woman. One day, as AMIRA wandered aimlessly through the village, her eyes fell upon Mama Essie's hut. A surge of rage welled up within her mind clouded by the madness that consumed her. She stormed into the hut, her eyes burning with fury, and confronted Mama Essie. She accused the witch of casting a curse upon her and robbing her sanity, turning her to a mad woman. In a fit of rage, AMIRA attacked Mama Essie with fists raining down upon the defenseless old woman. The villagers watched in horror as AMIRA's madness reached its peak. The villagers gasped in shock as they witnessed AMIRA's transformation. A woman who had once ruled their village with fear was now a shell of her former self, a tragic figure haunted by her own greed. Now AMIRA spent the rest of her life begging in the streets for food, water, and even clothes. Thank you so much to all who have watched this story to the end. Kindly consider subscribing, like, comment, and sharing the video to your friends. Let us meet in my next story.